Okay, there we go. Now recording. Cool. So thanks everyone for being here today. This session is perhaps long overdue. So first off, thanks for taking the time to be part of this connect and share session amongst the Yay chapters. Really, the session came about from a call from Brian, but also from others to learn more about what's working in various Yay chapters and to better share best practices amongst one another. So we're going to be doing this throughout the rest of the year and definitely into 2022. As you guys are all aware, we are starting with Bob and Aisha, who run the Yay chapter in Uganda. Thanks, Bob and Aisha, for putting so much time and energy into the discussion today, and for being available to share what's worked for you guys in Uganda, where you've built a very successful community. So with that, we'll do about 30 minutes of presentation on the Yay chapter in Uganda, and then we'll go to about 30 minutes of Q&A. And yeah, if we need to go over a little bit or if we need to end early, we're all very flexible here. So with that, Bob and Aisha, over to you guys.
Thank you, Claire. My name is Bob. I work at Outbox and we're the anchor partner for Yay ITC in Uganda. And with me here, I'm with Aisha. She won't talk now. We'll get Aisha to say hello later on, though she's already peeping. Aisha, behave, stop peeping. So allow me to share my screen for the presentation on what we're going to be sharing today. Thank you so much for joining us. So today's session really is based off the feedback and inquiries we've gotten from the Yay chapter in Kenya and also the different chapters. So the inquiries and the questions you did share are informing our agenda. So the lovely ladies looking at here, part of the participants of our different programs or activities under Yay ITC. So today we'll look at a few things. One, we'll have a quick intro about the ITC chapter in Uganda and Outbox. And then we'll also have quick chat on the Yay structure with a focus on the setup of the chapter in Uganda. And then we'll look at the focus and engagement approach of Uganda's Yay chapter. And then later on, we'll conclude with the best practices. So allow me invite Aisha. She won't introduce herself, but she'll walk us through quickly what the Yay chapter in Uganda is all about.
Great. So I'll run through this. Hi, everyone. Great to see you. Sorry, I have my mask on. It's because we don't have social distancing here. So please bear with me. Yes, we have to adhere to the SOPs. So the mission of the Yay community, allow me to re-echo it. And disclaimer, we have a child in the room. So in case you hear some whispers, please bear with us. So the mission is really, the Yay community is powered by ITC's Youth and Trade Program, which aims to provide youth with market-ready skills to help the enterprises compete on the international stage. And the Yay community is aiming to become the world's largest community of youth entrepreneurs by connecting them to ITC's technical expertise, learning resources, skills development, projects, public and private sector partners, finance and networks. Now, just to give a bit of context to the Ugandan chapter, and now with the anchor partner, we're able to provide a space for networking, and that's for the offline version. I know a lot of people connect through different mediums, for instance, LinkedIn, the different WhatsApp groups, but also a vibrant online platform where we're able to share best practices, cross-collaborate, but more importantly, have peer-to-peer mentorship. However, it's such a great thing to meet in person and actually have that human connection and see how best we can accelerate our businesses, but also share experiences. And from those experiences, we're able to lay a foundation and ably cushion some of the nuts and bolts or plugins that our fellow entrepreneurs might be facing. Sometimes it's just a simple thing of, okay, how did you get, the QR code on your product? And you're like, oh, it's, at the Uganda Museum, and this is where you go, and etc. I'm just giving an example. And somebody will be like, oh, was it that easy? So you have no idea the power of social capital. And I know I've re-echoed this several times, and how we maintain those business relations is something that is very great. And we're very, very uh, um, we're very, what's the word to use? We're very we give it our all when it comes to having entrepreneurs build their social capital, because it's very important to, one, accelerate their businesses, but also to increase their capacities and their clientele base. Then offering trainings on topics relevant for youth. If there's one thing that we'll share across this presentation, is engaging young entrepreneurs right from the start with the co-design process on what are their needs, as opposed to assuming and saying, okay, this is a program we've come up with and here it is. But involving them right from the get-go gives them a certain level of mantle, that leadership that they are able to carry on, but also feel part and parcel of the community and not detached from it. Then providing access to support and mentors is very critical. I know a lot of us as the year advisors will agree on this, that mentorship is very key for anyone's journey, regardless of how far you've made it with your business or your own professional journey or your career journey. Every level of our journeys requires advice from different experts, different people who we look up to, but also who we admire, their business ethics and how they do business. So it's very critical that mentorship is one of those plugins that we highly recommend in our programming. Then working with ITC to support high growth ventures and link them to global opportunities and finance. We all know that the lack of access to finance is one of the things that deter young entrepreneurs who are, who want to scale their businesses. But more importantly, there are others who want to, have markets outside, their country of operation. However, the processes sometimes, especially if you've not walked through it, seems rather scary. But with experts from ITC and, the expertise in, markets and all those trends is something that is very critical and of great support to the entrepreneurs that we work with. So you'll find that over time, we engage Claire and the different staff at ITC to see how best, when we identify the entrepreneurs within the community that, at a stage that needs growth or access to different things, we always engage the ITC, and we're grateful for their never-ending support towards our requests and asks. So I'll allow me end here that we launched the chapter in 2016, actually, and we've seen a significant growth over the years, from just meeting over coffee to organizing summits to actually growing our partner base. And that's one thing that the success has been gradual. It wasn't we woke up one morning, the community was formed. However, it took a lot of power and energies and commitment from the different members within the community to actually volunteer their time and expertise to grow the community and share their expertise to ensure that our footprint within the country and the region is something that is very strong. So again, the year supports young entrepreneurs at various stages of their business through online and offline activities, which I said earlier, but also just to re-highlight that we do not only focus on early stage, but we work with startups, those that just have ideas, and those that have the ability to scale up. So the online platform, which you're all well versed with, definitely is one that brings that sense of community, that sense of sisterhood, if I might say, or brotherhood, that you will DM somebody in the Philippines, for example, and be like, oh, I'm a Yay community member, and I'm doing this business, I need help on XYZ, even if you're not in the same sector. There's always that comfort that you have to reach out to a young entrepreneur across the globe and share, experiences, but most importantly, have possible synergies. Mentorship, which we all know that we have over about 300, I think, mentors, if that hasn't increased, on the online community platform, and a lot of us have taken advantage of that. And for those that haven't, I would implore you to do so, because it's very relevant. There's a lot to learn, especially across the board. Then for the e-learning courses, of recent, I remember Claire and Jenny shared the IP course, which I know some of us might have, taken an attempt to go through it. But all these courses are quite very, very relevant and important for our growth, but also to garner more skills to ensure that, we accelerate our businesses. So the different tools, the access to finance is quite a cushion that is needed to enable young entrepreneurs who are from just the idea stage, startup stage early, and those that are scalable to advance their businesses. Now, the offline version is obvious, and I know we all have experience in this. We have, the local chapters where we provide curated training based on the needs of the entrepreneurs. We come up, with different projects. For instance, if it's a Year Rise program that is tailored to maybe just focus on those that have ideas and ensure that, they're incubated and they're scalable and they access funding. So for every country, it might be a bit tweaked and different depending on the needs of all the entrepreneurs from the various regions. Advocacy is very, very important. Taking part in policy advocacy, if it comes to bank interest loans or some of those roundtables with different private sector, and also, the different opportunities. So that is it from me, and I hope I will add on to as we go on with the next slide. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Aisha. So in the next few minutes, I just want to talk about a few things. And right now I want to introduce Outbox, the Yay Anchor partner in Uganda. We were founded in 2012, and we're an innovation and entrepreneurship support organization that supports early stage technology entrepreneurs with shared space, in, business incubation, and technical training programs to enable them build bankable solutions that can attract funding for prototyping, as well as enabling them scale as soon as they have a solution or product that the customers have validated. So we leverage our partnerships with global software development companies, development partners, civil society organizations, and leading innovation hubs to provide access to expertise, markets, and funding opportunities to entrepreneurs across our different programs. And our vision is to nurture innovative global African technology startups that create a global impact. And the mission is really to provide entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology infrastructure that supports African entrepreneurs and businesses through the growth of inclusive communities that foster talent and create value where we operate. Now, when I did mention development partners and global software development companies, I was referring to partners like the ITC community, the National Social Security Fund in Uganda, the MasterCard Foundation, Mercy Corps, just to mention a few that we've been able to partner with to extend financial support as well as technical support to the different entrepreneurs that go through our incubation and acceleration programs. So we're lucky to have listened in from Aisha earlier on. So I want to officially introduce Aisha to you. Aisha is our Year Uganda advisor, and she's an award-winning entrepreneur, trainer, global shaper, the advisor to the ITC, and also a certified financial literacy facilitator with Bank of Uganda. She's the founder of High Profile Foundation, a social enterprise that focuses on child-centered programs, and Hope Hub, where they provide entrepreneurial skills, access to finance, and markets for refugee women and children. Now, they've done amazing work to ensure there is uptake of of information and skills around financial literacy for the children. I know in most cases in Africa, this is something that we're not really keen on. We only take on financial literacy trainings later on in our adult life. But through the iProfile and the Hope Hub, they've been able to develop trainings that have empowered children to develop financial literacy skills that are enabling them to save money that they can utilize later on in life. Aisha also facilitates at all for the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, which is an initiative of the White House. Now, closely with Aisha, she's been supported by a gentleman called Vincent Seroko. They've ensured the work of the ITC community in Uganda is being implemented successfully. And in a moment, we'll listen in from Vincent. He'll share his story in running a high growth startup that is in the making to receive funding from one of our accelerators. So right now, allow me to talk about the structure of the Year ITC chapter in Uganda, basically the setup of the chapter in the country. So at the apex body, we have the Year ITC, which is managed and overseen by Claire and her team, closely supported by Jenny and very many others that we may not know, but they closely support her. And then we have the anchor partner Outbox that works very closely with the Year advisor in developing strategies and implementation. So the partner and the advisor work closely to do the following activities. One, identify partners that we are going to work with. And these partners could be facilitators for master classes, facilitators for events. They could be mentors that we've identified to help support our entrepreneurs. There could be development partners, and we shall share a few of the development partners we've been able to onboard. And then secondly, we also identify participants. Now, this could be new or old participants who have gone through the ITC program and those who are interested in participating in the program. And lastly, we also developed a concept of the Year champions. These are volunteers. We cannot be everywhere in the country, but with the support of the volunteers, we're able to reach out to as many youth as possible. So the advisor and the partner work very closely in identifying strategic partners, participants, as well as the Year champions that help in the implementation. Now, it's never rosy when you're implementing the program because I believe we all have different other initiatives or projects that we implement. But to make the structure or the setup of the chapter in the country or in Uganda successful, we've relied on effective communication between the advisor, the partner, and the different stakeholders. We've also relied on our networks. Aisha talked about social capital. This is something very big, very key. As a partner, we have our networks that we can rely on, but also as the advisor, the different networks, the social capital that Aisha has built over time has actually come in hand to support us run and implement a successful program. And then collaboration, it's really hard again to work alone. So the more you work together with different people, it's really easy for you to hit your targets as you deliver value to the participants. And then lastly, we participate in lots of co-creation activities. And these co-creation meetings are either between the partner and the advisor, or the partner and the facilitators, the partner and the different other stakeholders we work with. So we co-create just to ensure that we're able to create value for the end user, and the end user in this case are the entrepreneurs we work with. Moving on, still on the areas of focus and engagement. So the approach is what makes the program tick. It's what makes our work stand out everywhere. And so our approach is really hinged on the end user centered approach. We design with the entrepreneur in mind. Aisha is an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, and most of the Outbox staff are entrepreneurs, same as the entrepreneurs that we work with under the chapter. So we design thinking about them, and we design for them because we know the challenges they go through. Therefore, we think about them. So one of the pillars has been we design with the end in mind. So what that, and then also we have an engagement approach that ensures we are able to actually reach out to various entrepreneurs and give them value for money through the trainings they participate in. So when we say begin with the end in mind, what that implies is that one, we do needs assessments, and these needs assessments help us to identify what the entrepreneurs are interested in learning. They also help us identify the weaknesses and the strength. It doesn't help you if you deliver a training that an entrepreneur has participated in 10 times. But what really helps is deliver a training that is going to add value to the entrepreneur. So we do needs assessment, either for an event or for a masterclass, regardless of the activity being implemented. We do a needs assessment just to help us understand whether the community needs it or not. And then later on, we do a pre and post assessment to ensure that we're able to validate what we've done. And then we also deploy lots of feedback loops. And these feedback loops are really engagements between us and different stakeholders to get feedback on what went well, what didn't go well. And we can tell you the fact, some things have not gone really well. we normally call it firefighting with the team. We do lots of firefighting whereby some things don't go as planned, and we have to go back on the drawing table and ask ourselves what happened. Why didn't this go as expected? What can we do differently to make sure that the entrepreneur gets value for time that we invested to participate in a given activity? So to make this work, we do lots of goal setting. And when we signed the contract sometime last year, one of the very first activities we did with Aisha and Claire was to do goal setting. And we had to think and identify activities that we wanted to implement. And so those became our targets. And then we also did the stakeholder mapping that would inform who the facilitators, mentors, and the crop of participants would love to work with. And then lastly, to engage them further, from the feedback we got, the participants told us that they were interested in participating in masterclasses, and they told us things around legal dynamics, financial management, with a bias on identifying the price of a product and the cost of selling it. And then also, I think we did something on human resource management. So we had to identify this, the sessions that the participants were interested in, and then also identify facilitators or subject matter experts that would later on deliver the sessions. And then also Year Rise Nights. These are basically events in which we bring together successful entrepreneurs to come and speak to these budding entrepreneurs. So prior to COVID, we did host a physical event, and the turnout was amazing. We had quite the feedback from the participants. So we had entrepreneurs who have successfully built a proof of concept and gotten funding. We also had entrepreneurs who have been able to accelerate and get funding, but also we had technical support from banks like the Standard Chartered Bank, and also financial literacy coaches who came and spoke to the entrepreneurs, shedding a light on their needs and how they can be able to navigate the ecosystem. And then we also host talks and Twitter spaces. I think of late, the spaces have been the in thing, just to try and avoid Zoom fatigue. So we've held a couple of Twitter spaces on different topics. And then lastly, our engagement approach is also linking the year community to different outbox opportunities we can get to talk about later. Moving on. So still on the engagement approach. So we are interested in learning what our focus is in Uganda and how we engage the community to ensure there's continuous workflow between us and the community. So 90% of our entrepreneurs for the community are early stage startups or entrepreneurs at ideation and conceptualization stage. Well, so for them, how we engage them and the areas of focus, I know many entrepreneurs at early stage think they need money, but from our experience supporting entrepreneurs, money is least of their worries for entrepreneurs at early stage. Their biggest worry is acquiring skills that can enable them rapidly do activities Also, so the skills can be financial management. How do you actually track your sales? The skills could be, how are you able to interpret data that comes from an experiment or from a prototype? So entrepreneurs at early stage, we take them through incubation, where they're able to build a proof of concept. Now, through your ITC, we engage them through the master classes that have been created off the feedback that they shared with us. And the master classes are delivered by subject matter experts. And then we also host year rise nights that to inspire and motivate these entrepreneurs. And then also we do host events that have been purposely developed to support a budding entrepreneur to build a proof of concept. And then 10% of entrepreneurs in our network are startups or entrepreneurs at validation and scale phase. They're interested in scaling their products or their services. And today we are going to listen in from Vincent. In a minute or so from now, he's going to share with us what his journey has been like through ITC and how it has been able to link him to a few opportunities here and there in and outside of Outbox network. So for the 10% of the entrepreneurs in our network, we've engaged them through accelerator programs, market linkages, access to funding, and technical support that is through the different programs or projects that we run at Outbox. So allow me invite Vincent just to share a few things in less than 5 minutes about his journey through one of the accelerators at Outbox. Vincent?
Good morning. It's morning here in Uganda. I hope you're all well. I'm glad to actually share about my experience with Yay, ITC, Outbox, and basically the entire program. I'm very fortunate that by the time this partnership was developed, by the time this program began, I already had an existing business. I had previously been part of the community and I've seen it morph over the time. And very impressive that at the beginning, there was already an assessment across the different entrepreneurs in the community as to what we actually need. And different things were shared. I had a chance to share myself, a couple of other entrepreneurs that I know very well also had a chance to share. And what I found very impressive is how the programs have been structured to our particular need. We're just coming out of especially at a global level, but even for us in Uganda and at entrepreneurial levels and personal levels, there was a challenge of COVID-19 and the impacts it had on our businesses and and also on our personal finances. And many times in our startup space, or when you're starting up a business, the personal finances are usually the fuel that runs the business. Now, one of the things that I appreciate is through a couple of the master classes, a couple of things that have been shared is one, we're able to talk about the separation of individual finances from the business finances, but also very importantly, how we can curb some of the spendings and have a little more to spare both on the business front and both on the business front and also the individual front. So that was very helpful. It was also very helpful to reach out on especially during the physical events that we had earlier, but also subsequent events that we've had online. We've been able to meet, at least personally, I've been able to meet other entrepreneurs that are involved in the same value chain and that could feed into my business, or I could actually provide a service for best of my business. So it's been very helpful in that sense, and also in the opportunity because of this. Today I'm actually at Outbox office, not purposely for this meeting, but there's a program I'm part of that because of being part of this program, it's a program that's being run by Outbox called NSSF High Innovator, and went through a very rigorous application phase, and then there was a long listing, short listing, and now we're attending a boot camp. And I had the opportunity to know about this opportunity and be part of it because of this partnership. Also, there are several others because of on the different platforms, different people share, different other entrepreneurs share about opportunities that are available for trainings. I think I attended a total of about 3 or 4 different trainings for business, personal finance, and personal business development growth out of networks that have been developed out of the program. And then I also have seen several opportunities that I've been able to apply for, either for training or for funding, also still associated to the program. So for me, especially especially running a business that has been pretty much is growing, and we need a lot of support in terms of developing the business systems, developing the human resource, developing all the other resources that we need for the business. It's been very instrumental to be part of this at a pivotal time. For me, it has been a perfect meet with the program. Possibly, I'll just point out what my business is and what it does. My name is Vincent Nsereko Vincent. I am the CEO of ZMAT. ZMAT is an agricultural investment platform. What we seek to do essentially is to identify people who would like to invest in agriculture. Mostly we target the urban working class within Kampala, Uganda, and we're trying to get them to invest in agriculture. So they give us their money and we invest in agriculture on their behalf. And at the end of it all, we pay them the profit and charge them a commission. So that's basically what we've been trying to develop, but it has been going through several rigorous stages of trying to pilot, prototype, and at least especially for almost a year, possibly over a year, we've been able to receive different support in the different meetings, the opportunities, and the networks that we've been able to develop because of this. So at least that's my experience having a startup, being an entrepreneur that has been part of the community. I don't know if there are any questions, but I'm very grateful to share.
Right, thank you so much, Vincent. We'll definitely get the questions and you'll respond to them now or later. Thank you, Vincent, for sharing your journey through a community that is there for you and is able to support you. All right, so right now, allow me to invite Aisha to walk us through approaches that have been used to create awareness and ensure community participation in the various sessions or activities we've been able to host over time. Aisha?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bob. We are trying to multitask here, so you see us trying to use sign language. Please bear with us. It's part of being an entrepreneur. There's just a lot on our tables, but that doesn't mean that we're not giving this priority. It's just that sometimes the schedules conflict, and we always have to balance, right? So building a community is something that is very, very, very crucial. Just like the heart is the center of a human being. Like without a heartbeat, you literally can't survive. Now, if you don't have that sense of community, that sense of power or inclusivity given to them, trust me, you might be running the show on your own. And at this point, even when you just do a needs assessment, the entrepreneurs feel honored, they feel part and parcel of the process, but more importantly, they feel like their voices are echoed through this assessment and their needs are very much taken into consideration. However, just like any other thing, I mean, with this living in this unprecedented times has quite shown us how unprepared we are financially. And not to mention, I mean, I've seen a lot of, developing countries or people across the globe, struggle, more importantly, putting the lens on entrepreneurs. Someone has been having a business, it's been running really well. However, it's not relevant in the current times. Now they've depleted their profit, their operational costs, they have no emergency fund, and they're back to zero. Now planning ahead comes in there. You should treat a community the way you treat your business, the way you have a business plan, the way you make projections, the way you make forecasts. It's very important that even when you give people heads up of, this is a program we're having, this is happening in October next year or July or giving people the calendar for like the whole session is something that, get people glued to, oh, this person actually values my time and my planning. However, last minute um, kind of programming causes a lot of you'll be walking on glass. First of all, your pressure levels will heighten, you're not settled. The speaker, you haven't identified a speaker. So you're literally trying to mold up something that is unmoldable. Yes, it is possible, but the amount of energy and exhaustion and drainage that it comes with is not good for human health. So really, planning ahead is something very important. And I think like Bob re-echoed that, you need to do a needs assessment, identify the speakers, the mentors ahead of time, have those work plans, communicate. Leveraging the power of communities is very important. And with the growth of communities, it's just use an example of, yourself. How many people do you know, and how many people know those people know, and that ripple effect. So shifting the power to the community and engaging them is quite very relevant to ensure participation in the sessions. Networks and partnerships. Bob really echoed it so well that you cannot do anything alone. You could, by the way, but there is a lot of impact and ease that comes with engaging with people and bouncing off your expertise, but most importantly, uh, sinking your strengths, and that helps you grow as a person, as an entity, as an entrepreneur. It's very important to make use of those networks, but also to add value to them. It's not just having over 1,000 contacts in your phone call who do not add value to you. So be very critical about how you utilize the networks we have and the partnerships we've built over time. So also, maybe just to echo on that, sometimes the power of partnerships, people associate with brands, for instance. Now, sometimes even when you're doing mapping of partners within the ecosystem, look out for the experts, look out for the people who actually have created, a strong footprint within the entrepreneurs ecosystem. It's very, very important. And that way you'll have the community buy-in, which enhances participation in the sessions. The always learning mentality. No man is an island. We're always learning, always unlearn to relearn. It's always a journey of learning and cross sharing, positive criticism where things go wrong. Please point it out and ensure that even feedback, getting the feedback is where you'll always keep learning to improve the sharing of the partners. Now, just to of the entrepreneurs, just to highlight some of the partners we are working with. NSSF is the National Social Security Fund, and with them we're able to curate sessions on financial literacy and everything to do with finance within the entrepreneurship space. Just to add on to that, they're also able to cater and facilitate some of our speakers who they actually invite and scout for. So that is quite an added addition to improving our community, but also making it work really and increasing the opportunities across the board. We have the business law clinic, and like Bob earlier shared that while we're creating these sessions, we got feedback from the community, and they talked of compliance, how do they register their businesses. So we thought it fit to work with the experts in that subject to bring these sessions to life. The Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, where I am a facilitator and have the ability to give a few slots to some of the young entrepreneurs within the YE community. And I can confidently say that 2 of them actually are part of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, which aims to advance women's economic potential while giving them access to funding, a modular program online, and mentors, as well as networking opportunities. Then lastly, the Stanbic Business Incubator, which is not so different from what Outbox is doing. And we always leverage those partnerships, those networks, to ensure that we have community participation in these sessions, but also so that we have, new experts. Because sometimes having the same people kind of gets people I don't know if I could call it people fatigue or experts fatigue, but just having new face, new ideas, new energy is something that is great to have. And that's, you're able to, capture. There are people who just associate with Stanbic Incubator and attend a session because of that. So it's very important to kind of map out the players in the ecosystem right from the start, and ensure that even within the feedback, you ask that, which entities do they admire, and you can always curate your partners from there. In terms of community participation and awareness, I know we use socials, we use emails. However, it's quite important, like I said earlier, to value entrepreneurs' time. Do not assume that because you have a program, because they are part of a community, that you advertise an event one day or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days to the event and expect all of them to be a part. So it's important that you value people's time, you consistently remind them, you consistently communicate. Sorry, I'm rushing through this. I know we are running out of time, but utilization of social media platforms, ensure that you're always building on your socials. Make sure you're consistently creating content, you're sharing, you're following them, retweeting, highlighting their businesses, to give them that sense of community uh, home. I would call it a community home. Like, make sure they are part and parcel of the community. So it's very important that you tag them, you quote some of the things they said during the sessions, just to give them that sense of belonging. And then leveraging partner brands and networks. So there's a power of numbers. If I just post it on my socials, yes, people within my space will see it. But imagine NSSF, Business Law Clinic, the Academy, the Incubator, Outbox, AITC, all the different partners engaged to rally and put these opportunities right in front of the young people who are hungry for these opportunities. So leveraging partner brands and networks is very important to ensure community participation in the sessions. At this point, I will hand it over back to Bob.
All right, thank you, Aisha. I want to use only 2 minutes to close this. So, our best practices from the work we've done so far, and it's really a reflection of what Aisha just shared. One is we've learned to fail fast, learn and iterate. Just like a startup, before you're able to build a bankable solution or product, you'll need to learn and fail and relearn, and then use the lessons to build something that is commendable. So even for the partnerships we've had, we've been able to learn in terms of what the participants want, and then develop things that they're interested in. Also, what has really worked for us has been identifying a focal person for the ITC partnership, just like the way different hubs organization identify focal person that are going to help implement a given project or program. It's also key that as an anchor partner, you identify a focal person who is going to be a key resource in supporting the implementation and delivery of the program in a given anchor country. And then thirdly, setting clear distinct roles for the advisor and the anchor partners. If you know what each of you is doing, it's easy for you to complement each other based on the skills, the strengths and weaknesses to have program success. And the next is leveraging networks. Just like Aisha said, it's really important for you to build on the social capital that each of you has, and then just sell the value of them participating in your activities to them. At the end of the day, you'll be able to attract as many partners as possible. Communication. I don't know what else to say about that. I'll just leave it at that. Next is co-create as much as you can. If you get an opportunity to think and sit on a round table with stakeholders, please take advantage of it, but never lose your goal. The goal always is, how do you create value for the entrepreneur? That is the goal at the end of the day. So co-create with as many people as you can, but never lose sight of your goal. And then still, I've brought back networks because it's a key item. Leverage the power of social networks. The more you can build on, the better. And then communities, leverage the power of communities. I know we have different communities that participate in different activities. So depending on what you want to be known for in the ITC community, you can either support high growth entrepreneurs or early stage entrepreneurs, but it's very important for you to leverage the communities that you've been able to build over time. and then adopt an always learning mentality. Whether something has gone well or not, make sure you're learning from it so that you can be able to build and become better. So also to track what we do pre and post training feedback gathering. To enable us get feedback from participants. We also do host focus group discussions on the ever-changing needs of participants, just to make sure we are up to date. So these are just images from some of the activities we've held, the Year Rise Night, some co-creation sessions, and also some guest speakers talking to our entrepreneurs. Yeah, thank you so much. Allow me hand the microphone back to Claire to take us through the Q&A session.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Aisha. Really, really appreciate the time and the energy you put into this. Bob, if you could stop sharing your screen, that would be great. It shows us still sharing. There we go. Perfect. So I will invite anyone who has a question to raise their hand, and then we can go through with unmuting you guys, just so we don't have everyone speaking at the same time. So I'm sure you guys have lots of questions. So who would like to go first? Yes, Wilson, go ahead.
So I think the presentation was very good and very practical, and most of us can relate to it despite our location. So what I want to know here from them is, what are some of the challenges that they have encountered in the past few years, and how did they overcome these challenges? Thank you.
All right, Bob, Aisha, over to you guys.
Thank you so much. So just like I didn't really share lots of insights on the challenges, but we faced so many challenges over time. And I will tell you for a fact that one of the challenges has been getting numbers of participants to attend sessions. So you do a needs assessment and you receive maybe feedback from 80 participants giving you feedback. Then they tell you, we want these kind of sessions. You organize sessions, identify facilitators, reach out to them, market the session. Come the D-Day, out of the 80, you have 40. And then some sessions out of the 80 that you expect to have, you have 30, you have 20. So for us, one of the biggest issues that we faced at the start was mobilization, just to get in the numbers. And the biggest lesson there was, how can we leverage partner brands? That's why we've been able to identify partners like the NSSF, partners like Makerere Business Clinic, also partners like the Stanbic Business Incubator and how it's very easy for us to leverage their brand out there. So when we do publicize a masterclass that is being done in partnership with them, it's easier to get in the numbers. Also, one of the other challenge has been communication. At some point, we had some communication challenges, and this is me being very honest with you. At the start, as a partner, as an anchor partner, you have your own view of how you want the chapter to go, but also the advisor has their own view on where they want the chapter to go. So you'll keep pulling ropes in terms of how you want to implement until you sit down and agree on a common ground in terms of what kind of value can you create for the community. It is really hard. And I believe this is a challenge that many communities face. And then the other has been entrepreneurs participate in programs and they expect funding. They expect funding when they participate in trainings. For instance, at Outbox, for every project that we work with, or every funder or development partner, normally there is seed funding that we give out. So also one of the expectations has always been, are you going to give us seed funding? Are you going to give us certificates for participating in activities? And then we tell them, no, we are giving you technical support that is going to enable you learn a lot to manage your business better. And then, Aisha, do you want to share any insights or any challenges you think?
No, I think Bob has really well exhausted some of the challenges that we've faced. But just bouncing back off on communication, I think from the get-go, it's really good to share expectations both between the anchor and the year advisor on how to, run the community, but more importantly, look back on the goals that were set. So are those coming through the work plan? How best do you plan ahead of time? How do you, get those things running smoothly? And also, how do you remind each other? So for me, I think the challenges present opportunities to be better and to learn better from each other, and how to best capitalize on the strengths that we each share. So I think for me, even within the challenges, there are opportunities that arise for improvement. Yeah. But happy to mention that in terms of mobilization, we are now good. And I think in one of the sessions, we had about 200 participants. That's after we failed, learned, and then, got better. Yes.
Always improving. No, that's great. Brian, over to you.
Thanks, Claire. And again, thanks to the Uganda chapter. It's been really an insightful session. We got to learn a lot, having been, I think, one of the teams that requested for such a session. I see Ifra's hand is up, and I would just like her to go first, and then maybe I can just proceed because I work with her.
Well, Brian, I was waiting for you to ask your question. Maybe they're different questions. But again, thank you so much, Claire, for organizing this. Thank you so much, Aisha and Bob, for sharing your insights. It's been, a learning process for me and Brian, and I'm glad, Brian, as a representative of our anchor organization, is here today. So we're able to take those lessons, both as the advisor and the anchor organization. I have two questions. One is about the structure that you guys have for the community in Uganda. So I understand, Aisha's the advisor, and, Bob, you're representing the Outbox, which is the anchor organization. But is there like, a structure for the community? Is there anyone who assists Aisha with, her day-to-day activities? Because it can get very overwhelming. And how does she do this if there's a structure available? Another question I'd like to pass on is when you guys are not having activities, for example, you're not holding, say, a session that week, or you're not doing something that week, do you keep up communication within your socials? Do you keep up, like, how do you engage the entrepreneurs? Is there a conversation that still goes on? What conversations do you have? I'd just like to know, because sometimes, it can get dead when there's nothing going on. And yeah, I'd like to learn from you guys. Brian, over to you if you have a question.
Thanks. And I think you were reading my mind, Ifra, because my questions were just almost the same as that. I think just to add one more to it, for us, when I say us, I think it's a shocker, and a shock in East Africa, and with the collaboration and support of the advisor Ifra. One of the key things that we wanted to achieve, it's actually meeting those expectations that the YEA community had. And Bob, while you were sharing, I had you guys stating that indeed in the beginning you had a couple of challenges with the mobilization or engagement. I think that is true, very true for us as well. I think at some point I hesitated to have other young people involved, because what we wanted to do first was to create value and address the needs of the entrepreneurs who are already in the community. And now to my question is while you were designing the needs assessment, I believe that it was specific to the community that was there at the beginning, and now with the involvement of other networks. I'm just curious to understand, and maybe Aisha, if I'm not wrong, are the YEA members still, engaging the ones that were already there? Are they finding value, continued value from what is being presented? And from Bob, it's, is there any strategy that you're using to also bring the other members who were not actively participating back into the fold, and just helping them understand that what you have created is indeed for their benefit, and how are you going about that?
Thank you very much, Brian and Ithra, for the great questions. I'll answer, I think, about two, and I'll leave the other two to Bob. So Ifra, you asked about the structure for the year community. It definitely is very important to giving the power or the mantle of leadership to other people in the community is very important. And we've done that in two ways. One is through the Yay Champions, because as an advisor, even as an anchor, we're able to be everywhere, right? You need to collaborate, you need to have members take on the mantle of leadership. But how do you do that? You don't just, ask for volunteers within the community, because not everybody is going to, come up and want to really take on new tasks. However, it is what value are you giving them? So in terms of capacity building, are you, bettering their skills? Are you giving them a modest facilitation in terms of airtime? Because if they are to build a community outside, the city, and you want to increase the footprint of the community across the region, then definitely Bob and Aisha cannot, run around all the districts, but you definitely have to upskill really those young champions within the community to help them curate sessions, roundtables, but also build a vibrant community within the regions they are in. But also on the flip side, in order to do that, you need to kind of have a managerial team to kind of follow through certain things, send them emails, keep them in the loops and all that. So within the Year community, there are people like Vincent, there is quite a couple of them who, take on different roles. Some will help with, the social media management, others will help with sometimes the engagements could be too many and you can't make it for some, but because they know the vision of the community, they know, the activities, they're able to, follow up with the champion. So it's very important that even as an advisor, there's that, community embedding you have within the members to support the work you're doing, but also more importantly for the betterment of the community. I remember before I became an advisor, or before I became an advisor, I was about to say ambassador, somehow just stuck in my mind. But I remember when we had the previous ambassador, Sandra Letio, I think I joined the community about 2016. But I was really part and parcel of so many activities, stakeholder engagement, rallying partners and trying to see, how do we offer the support to the advisor to ensure that the activities of the community are running smoothly. So it's important that you identify members that are committed, whose expertise cannot be matched, but you can do it in two folds. You can put out a call within the community and have sort of an executive or steering committee to kind of help with some of these, little tasks that you may not be able to run through immediately and which will be overwhelming for you. So I think, Ifra, that would be my response to the question you raised. Then with Brian, I think you mentioned about have the entrepreneurs seen value in the masterclasses that we offer. By far, and I don't want to, be excited about it, but sometimes you're in these sessions and someone will, you keep, your phone is buzzing with inboxes that, oh, Aisha, this session has, really changed a lot in my business. And then we have recurring entrepreneurs who have really come for sessions repetitively. I would call them repetitive entrepreneurs. I would have called them repetitive customers, but entrepreneurs who are always like looking out for the next masterclass, and then they're inboxing you with further questions. Or can I get the number of the speaker? Or I've registered my business after a compliance session. So yes, they are seeing value in the masterclasses, but more importantly, it trickles back to the needs assessment that we did because of the information that they gave us to curate this session. So yeah, over to Bob to answer the two other questions.
I barely have no response after what you just shared, but I'll try. So Brian, you did ask around strategy, whether we do have a strategy in place that can help us to get the members actively participate. Maybe just to repeat what Aisha said, so we do have an engagement model of mobilization, which is through our volunteers. Now, to make this work, like Aisha mentioned, we do have a budget line for them. So when we're doing the planning, we did envision that we shall need volunteers that would help us to do mobilization, but also create awareness throughout the different key cities within the country. So we do have volunteers who help us do mobilization, but also maybe to answer partly the question raised by Ifra on how else do we engage the community when there are no activities. So through our communications department, we do publish articles. At least every month we do publish an article about either an entrepreneur or about an activity that was held. So when the article is published, we do pick up bits and pieces from the article that we publish on our social media platforms to keep the community alive. But there's something that Aisha didn't mention that she always does is she throws questions every now and then in the WhatsApp groups that we have, asking participants about what they want to see. In as much as we are over the moon, we know that we are doing a great job sometimes. Aisha is relentless. She's always asking, do you think if we did this, it would change the kind of value you're getting at the moment? So we normally engage them on different platforms. And then also in the community, there are people who are self-motivated and are interested in the program. You don't have to give them anything. They'll come to you and tell you, Bob, you've talked about this event. Can I support you maybe with organizing the venue? Can I support you with reaching out to facilitators or stakeholders? So we normally reach out to such people and engage them. And we have quite many of them who have been supportive in that area. And then finally, like I mentioned, we just create a budget line for volunteers who we know are going to support us every now and then, especially with activities. And finally, to support Aisha, like I mentioned in the best practices, I've been designated to fully support Aisha. I know I have other roles that I undertake, but so in part of my work is just to make sure that my calendar is in sync with Aisha's activities and we are able to actually work together very closely. So for some reason, I kind of know what Aisha does through iProfile. And so from having that professional relationship, we've gone on to become friends. So it's easy for us to network and engage to make sure that the community is getting value for time. So maybe that can only work for me because it's something we've done with Aisha. So in another community, depending on the relationship between the anchor partner and the advisor, you can also figure out how best you can work together to ensure you're able to deliver value to the entrepreneurs, but also not cheat yourself at the end of the day. Thank you. I hope.
Brian, did that answer your question fully?
Yes, just a quick follow-up, if there's time, and I know I can ask so many questions, so please feel free to stop me, if you feel I'm holding people hostage. I just want to understand, how long has the Uganda chapter been in existence, and how long has it taken you guys just to set up some of the structures that you've shared with us?
Brian, in my earlier presentation, I mentioned that the community has been in existence since 2016. But
yes.
I mean, yes, so we've built it over time. However, we've had a more structured community after we brought on board the anchor partner, and and I mean we're still improving. So it's an ongoing learning, work in progress kind of structured community, but we're getting there, especially on having a stronger footprint with more key players in the ecosystem and becoming that one-stop shop center for young entrepreneurs to receive the tools and resources, finances, networks, opportunities, both online and offline at no cost. So it's quite exciting to see how far we've come and how far we will be going.
Thanks, I'm good, thanks.
Great. All right, so I don't see any other hands raised. I'll give one last minute in case there's a final question or a comment, or anyone wants to jump in and say anything. All right, silence is golden. Excellent. Then, yes, Kagiso, did you want to jump in?
Hi, just a quick one. I'm not asking a question, just a quick comment. Just to reiterate what I was saying in the chat, we have a young chapter that we've started here in Botswana, our first cohort. And some of the things that the team was sharing earlier, we've already noticed the benefit of things like surveying to find out from the startups exactly what they need in their businesses and where to focus on. I think that has led to a lot more engagement and desire to be in the workshops and in the sessions that we've been hosting, although they are all virtual. I think we really have seen that there's generally a consistent attendance, even though the numbers might not be super high, but we generally have people attending all of the sessions quite well. Reaching out to the local business community and captains of industry seems also to keep startups quite engaged, getting insight directly from people who are still doing and continue to do their businesses and pivot and start new businesses. So I'm really looking forward to utilizing more of the platforms and tools that are available for our startups, and we'll definitely hope to be joining more of these sessions so I can continue to learn from colleagues in other regions. Asante sana.
Great. Thanks, Kagiso. I saw Brian, you unmuted yourself.
I just wanted to appreciate Kagiso for using Kiswahili.
I knew you were going to, I knew that wouldn't go past you. Yes, we can have, a separate Swahili chapter chat, no problem there. So I wanted to say thank you so much for Bob and Aisha for your time, and also to Vincent for sharing your story. Vincent or Bob, actually, maybe you can share Vincent's email in the WhatsApp, in the WhatsApp or in the Zoom chat if anyone wants to connect with him for further questions. Yes, that's a great idea, Bob. Thank you. I always forget to take a picture, so I really appreciate the reminder. Yes, if everyone could turn on their camera just for a second. I know that in some places it's quite costly to use all this bandwidth, but if you guys could turn on your camera for just a moment, then we can take a quick picture. And definitely, we love to see the faces. Great, and he's just shared Vincent's email as well. All right, Gilbert, Kagiso, Efe, Obi, Hamad, if you guys are there, if you could turn on your camera just for a minute, we'd love to take a picture. I hope you're all there. All right. No problem, Ifra. Gilbert, Efe, Hamad, Obi. Okay, we'll go for it. I'll give you guys 5 more seconds to turn on your cameras. All right.
Kindly inform us when to smile.
Yes, I will, definitely. Gilbert, are you turning on your camera? Okay, I guess that's, yes, here he comes. Great. Okay, smile on 3. Oh, wait, we have one more person joining. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thanks, everyone. I will be sure to share that in the chat. And I once again thank you all for joining for this session. We really appreciate you guys all taking the time. I know you're all super busy. It's a busy time of year. Let's continue the info sharing. I know this is coming at the end of the year, but we will have another session next month where we will talk with the YEI chapter in Pakistan. So we have Hamad who's here, but we'll also have Ozal and the new lead for the YEI chapter there who came on board last month as the previous one left. Sarmad. Sarmad will be leading the next one with Ozal from Plan 9 International in Pakistan, and we will continue this through next year because indeed it's long overdue. Also, as mentioned via email, lots of new things coming up at the end of this year based on your feedback. So we'll be hosting some focus sessions. Please complete the surveys. I've sent you both advisors and anchors at your earliest convenience. The cutoff is the 8th, which is this Friday. And thank you so much. I'll share this with you. I'll share this nice photo with you all via WhatsApp, and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everyone.